Aruhata Alai Notena Torah. Arihata Alai Elohim Asher Nata B'Tidi Aruhata Alai Notena Arihata Elohim Oh, my bad. Wearing the mask, you got to be more careful about where you're walking.
Okay. Okay. All right, ready?
It's okay. I mean, I didn't try to.
All right.
Five on the list. That's exactly right. It's not on the list anymore.
Shabbat Shalom. We are so thrilled that you're here tonight. Before the service officially begins, a few points of housekeeping. We are trying to navigate our way through reopening into our new normal, whatever that means. And so we're going to ask you to please comply with our rules, our guidelines that were given to us by our COVID task force of our congregation. And so tonight, the confirmands are going to be able to take their masks off while they have their part here at the Bema, and then they'll stay masked for the rest of the service. For that purpose, we are going to ask you to stay fully masked, as many of our teenagers are not vaccinated at this time. We ask that your masks be over your nose and mouth. We know how to wear our masks by this point. Thank you for complying with our guidelines. Second, it's hard not to sing when our song leader is singing. but we're going to ask you to please do the best you can to just hum as quietly as possible where you are. Again, trying to keep everybody as safe as possible because we're still going along with the unknown. And so just for everyone to stay safe, we ask for your cooperation. Just to let you know, this is the biggest crowd we have had so far, and every week as we come back together, we are asking everyone to remain spread out to keep everyone safe. So thank you all for being here, for being at this absolutely wonderful occasion that we get to have a confirmation on time. Last year's confirmation had to wait a whole year, and they were actually confirmed last week. We had to confirm the 2020 year before the 2021. So this is our second week of confirmation. And with that, it is my pleasure to invite to the Bima to officially begin our Shabbat service, Anna Sosno.
Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to the class of 2021's confirmation service. Our theme is COVID Couldn't Stop Us. On behalf of our class, I would like to thank you all for coming to this monumental Shabbat. COVID and having confirmation class on Zoom was hard, but it made us resilient and kept us close to each other. We've been preparing for confirmation this year, but really ever since we had our B'nai Mitzvahs. Back then, we were seen as Jewish adults, but now we are really more like adults than ever before. If age didn't make us adults, living through this past year did. We missed a lot, we lost a lot, but we also gained a lot, and are grateful to have Congregation Etz Chaim to call our spiritual home. Thank you all for being with us tonight, and please enjoy the 2021 confirmation class service. Shabbat Shalom.
The confirmation class asked for this song to be the opening song. It is my pleasure to invite to our Bima ceremonially Cindy Michelasi to sing Or Zarua.
Or Zarua, Atzadik, Uli Shelev Simcha. Or Zarua, Atzadik, Uli Shelev Simcha. Or Zarua, Atzadik, Uli Shelev Simcha. Uli Shelev Simcha. Or Zarua, Atzadik, Uli Shelev Simcha. Uli Shelev Simcha. Pa 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 pa
One of our confirmation teachers, Shannon Selbert, is with us in our Zoom room, and she is going to sanctify our Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lachadik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shannon, and thank you for all you do. It is my pleasure to invite to the ceremonial bima at this time through our Zoom room our very own Madrich extraordinaire, William Talbot, who will be reading from page 6, the reading May the Door.
The door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, William, and thank you for your wonderful service to our community last year. William was our madrich for 2 years of confirmation. We continue in our prayer book, in our Siddur, on page 28 with the singing of Baruch Hu, and I ask everyone, if they are able to do so at this time, to please rise. Please be seated. It is my pleasure to invite to the bima at this time to lead us in Ma'ariv Aravim, Joshua Harrop.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteah sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umahalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakohavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshe, v'choshe mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uve laila, Adonai Sevaot Shema. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
We continue with Everlasting Love on page 32, and we will be led by Alana Turoff.
Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ochiv Amo Yisrael.
We continue with the Shema, which can be found in our prayer book on pages 34 and 35, and I ask everyone to please rise at this time if they are able to do so.
Adonai
We continue with Via Hafta, which can be found in our Siddur on page 36, and we will be led by Daniel Silverstein.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. היו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בעם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue on page 40 with the singing of Mi Chamocha. We continue on page 39. On the top of the page, it is my pleasure to invite to the bima at this time Shana Wartzman.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood on Sinai's foot, that whatever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to the promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
We continue on page 44 with the singing of Vishamru.
Shabbat, השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות וברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות וברית עולם.
We come now to our congregational tefillah, which can be found in our prayer book on page 46, and I ask everyone to please rise if they are able to do so at this time.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayim etim atah rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayim etim berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umidom elach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, b'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Will the congregation please be seated? And we will have an original reading and be led now by Ryan Siegel.
When God created the first man, he showed him all the trees in the Garden of Eden and said, "See how beautiful and perfect are my works. All that I have created for you. Therefore be ever mindful. Do not abuse nor desolate my world, for if you abuse or desolate it, there is no one to repair it after you."
We pause for a moment of silent meditation, followed by Oseh Shalom, which can be found on page 62. We come now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of the Torah. And just a quick run through of how we will be doing this. I'm going to ask everyone to please stay at their seats. We're going to bring the Torah to you, but we're not going to actually have you touch your book to the Torah. Just let it be in and amongst you. And so we continue with the Torah service.
And I ask everyone to please rise in either body or spirit. Everyone may be seated, and it is my pleasure to invite up to introduce our Torah portion tonight, Zach Gilbert.
This week's Torah portion, Bamidbar, begins the book of Numbers. It is about the census taken of the Jewish people in the second month of their second year in the desert. First, it lists the leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. Then it talks about the totals of all the men and women, of all the men who were between the ages of 20 and 60 for each tribe. All in all, the Torah says there were 603,550 men. This doesn't even take into consideration the number of women and children. This means there were probably at least 3 or 4 times that many people. But it only counted the men who could be a part of an army if the Israelites were attacked in the desert. You can follow along with the Torah reading on page 769 in the Time commentaries.
Ya'amod Binyamin ben Gedalia v'Rachel Leah la'aliyah haTorah. Ya'amod Shmuel Eden ben Reuben Are likro haTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Leolam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'na'atan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. All right, Ben, you grab this.
Ve'ele shemo hanashim asher ya'andu itchem Keruven Elazor ben Shaleor Lishim'an Shalumiel ben Surishadai Leheudah Nathaniel ben Aminadab Lishkar Nathaniel ben Zuar Zivulon Eliab ben Chelon.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet va'yeh olam natah b'tolheinu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Yeshua, very nicely done. Thank you. Very nicely done. Our thoughts now turn to those of our community and families who are ill and in need of healing. We think this evening of Elwood Frederick Bryan, Mark Zellman, Everin Georgie Johnston, Kathleen Minardi, Sheila Alterman, Carol Neymark, Larry Neymark, Stefano Michelasi, Larry Levine, Steve Tatiner, Beverly Klein, Steve Koech, Carlene Lane, Kathy Notaris, and all who suffer, whom we know not by name. Misha berach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yirpet chol Cholei Israel v'yishlach lechem bimhera refuah shlema, refuah nefesh, refuah haguf, v'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all who are stricken. May the Holy One of Praise mercifully restore them to health and to vigor, and may God grant them health of body, health of spirit, and of mind. And let us say, Amen. Yamod Moshe Chanon ben Baruch Hirsch v'Nechama Hagba Ta'amod Eliana bat Yosef Chaim Golelet. We rise for Hagba and continue with Eitz Chaim He on page 256 as we return the Torah to the Ark.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. Eitz Chaim ilam machazikim ba'v'tomcheha meushar. Eitz Chaim ilam machazikim ba'v'tomcheha. Life to those who hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Everyone may be seated, and it is my pleasure to invite up to read our prayer for Israel on page 259, Daniel Gilson.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it between the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fulfillment of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
To offer some sermons and reflections about the theme of our service and about their experiences here at Congregation Etz Chaim, it is my pleasure to invite to the bima Michaela Ray, followed by Jacob Lax.
The theme of this year's confirmation is COVID couldn't stop us. And the reason it couldn't stop us is because no matter what happens, distance, COVID, alien abduction, this is our religious home. I've grown up here and it means a lot to me. This synagogue is so much more to me than just a place of worship. Congregation Etz Chaim is a community filled with acceptance, love, and learning. I've learned a lot here, which I'm sure isn't surprising for any of my classmates, rabbis, or, well, everyone here to hear. But I do want to share some memories that I hold of growing up here as a child of CEC. Anyone who has gone through our religious school has had my mother as the 3rd grade Hebrew teacher, my grandmother as the 4th grade Judaica teacher, and my aunt as our 4th grade Hebrew teacher alongside Mrs. Fidlow, of course. So I guess you could say that we're all part of this big family led by our teachers and our educators. I went to pre-K here with Mrs. Bender, and I remember learning all of the Jewish letters and numbers and the backstories to all the major Jewish holidays. In the primary grades, we would have music with Sue and Dan and arts and crafts with Stacy during Sunday school. Ah, those were the days. As we got older, Sunday school became more work and less play. I guess Rabbi C's stuck in Sunday school really does apply. Although we started to learn more about the Jewish language and the Hebrew language and the Jewish faith, our teachers always made sure to make it fun. In 5th grade Hebrew with Mrs. Friedman, she would always come up with new ways for us to learn our prayers, games to play, and a reward system when we would learn new prayers. We met time-traveling characters during prayer experience at Westlake Middle School. We got to take a cake decorating class. We learned how to braid challah, make hamantashen, latkes, and so many other delicious Jewish foods. In 8th grade, we took an amazing Holocaust class and led a beautiful Yom HaShoah service for the community. In 9th grade, we took an awesome ethics class with Uli Widmeyer, which personally really stuck with me. I could go on and on telling you about the classes we've taken and the things that we've learned from them. Like I said, I've learned a lot here. Between learning about the Jewish faith and culture, Talmud, Torah, and Jewish history, I've also managed to do a lot of learning about myself and the world around me. Getting confirmed tonight does not mean that this learning experience is over. It simply means that we can begin to share our newly gained knowledge and wisdom with those around us. I want to thank everyone that has contributed to the learning of the confirmation class of 2021. Thank you all so much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Over 13 months and still counting. That's how long there have been at least some sort of restrictions or lockdowns related to COVID-19. I have to be honest, if you told 10-year-old me that I'd be living in a global pandemic 5 years in the future, I would have probably thought you were insane. I also might not have known what you were talking about, but here we are. Over the last year, we've all had to adapt, whether it was doing school or work from home, not being able to go to concerts, sports games, and live events. Nothing has really felt normal since the pandemic started. Confirmation class has been no different. What's supposed to be one of the most fun years of religious school, at least that's what they tell you, became one of the weirdest, done almost entirely over Zoom. However, confirmation class endured, and so have all of us. But I think one of the best things that we'll be able to take away from this year is our newfound resiliency. Throughout the worst pandemic any of us have ever been alive for, we've learned to adapt to new situations, whether it's having to go to class on Zoom, go to school with a mask on, or even wearing a mask in sports. While confirmation was no doubt harder on Zoom, I'm impressed by all of us being able to manage it, and I would say we definitely still had a great year. Whether it was talking about the different types of Judaism, or even just discussing charities to send tzedakah to, we proved that we could adapt and respond to the adversity brought on by the pandemic. At the same time, though, COVID-19 also upended all of our social lives. At first, we weren't even able to really leave our houses, and even once we were able to, it was only allowed in small groups. Despite this, we all were able to connect with each other on every Sunday during the school year. At the same time, we are living through what could end up being remembered as one of the most consequential election cycles in modern times. While I don't want to get political, it's impossible to ignore the fact that while we lived through and adapted to a pandemic, we also witnessed a summer of protest, a contentious election, and an attack on our nation's capital. But all of us in our confirmation class endured. I think the biggest thing our class can take with us in the future and be proud of was this: COVID couldn't stop us. Shabbat Shalom.
To present our confirmation class gift, it is my pleasure to invite Adam Gerard to the bima.
Our class gift is to contribute a new 60-inch television for the confirmation classroom. This would enable the confirmation teachers to show videos, memes, and other educational offerings like they were able to over Zoom this year. Our class is so grateful for our Jewish education. We are happy to be able to give back to the synagogue that has given so much to us and helped shape our Jewish identities. The television is our gift to our congregation, but the demonstration of how we live our lives as we go off into our future will also be the gift that we give to the entire Jewish community. On behalf of the class, I would like to thank our amazing 10th grade teachers, Joel Spenedel, Shannon Selbert, Jillian Bernstein, William Talbot, and Rabbi Kozlowski. Shabbat Shalom.
It is my pleasure to invite one of our wonderful confirmation class teachers, as well as the treasurer of the congregation, to offer his announcements and remarks at this time. Joel Spenedel.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Joel Spenedel, and I'm representing the Board of Directors tonight. I want to thank everyone who's joined us for tonight's Shabbat service. Just a couple quick announcements. On Sunday, this Sunday at 10 a.m., our Shavuot event will be to welcome via Zoom Mara B. Gad, the author of The Color of Love, a story of a mixed-race Jewish girl. On Thursday, May 20th at 7 p.m., we hope you'll join us for this special program, Moses Through Three Traditions, Muslim, Christian, and Jewish Perspectives of Our Shared Prophet. Rabbi Campbell will be a speaker on the interfaith panel. Please register to receive the Zoom link. I want to wish a hearty mazel tov to the 2021 confirmands. More on that coming. Thank you to Rabbi Kozlowski and Rabbi Campbell and the confirmation students for leading us in services. And thank you to Cindy Michelasi for our wonderful music. Next Friday night will be at 7:30 p.m. We'll be honoring Barbara and Mark Turner. This service will be an in-person service, Zoomed and live streamed as well. Don't forget, we'll need you to register when the email comes out this Sunday, and the wearing of masks is still required. Now I'm going to switch hats for one last time, have some words as their teacher to our confirmation students. Students, your final year of religious school at Etz Chaim was unprecedented in being a near-complete virtual experience. But while the virus loomed, we went VIRO, which is my acronym for Virtual Repair of the World. It is far from an ideal situation, and no doubt Shannon Selbert, Danielle Gilson, William Talbot, and I were unable to get to know you as well as we would have liked during in-person class sessions in this building. But thanks to the miracle of modern technology, we got to know each of you well enough to understand your individual strengths and interests, which we want to briefly share here. And please indulge me while I go through each student. We thankfully only have 12 confirmation students this year. I had 24 the first year I taught. So starting with, and this is alphabetically by last name, no priority or preference. Okay, Ben. You have a strong sense of justice, which showed in your selection and presentation to the class of the Greater Chicago Legal Clinic. It's an organization I didn't know. Adam, you serve well whether on the tennis court or in collecting and providing food and supplies for the clients of DuPage Pads and Bridge Communities, as you were able to do several times this past year despite the pandemic. Zach, you love baseball, we know that, but you're also a caring young man who demonstrated your love of animals, which came through loud and clear in your class presentation for the West Suburban Humane Society. Josh, your multiple talents show whether on the baseball field or giving a passionate pitch for St. Jude's that drew a $250 class donation to that amazing children's hospital. Aiden, you were always first to log into our class sessions, and that allowed me to get to know your kind heart, which symbolically showed when you decided to present to the class the very well-known organization, American Heart Association. Jacob, your natural leadership skills show whether you're QBing on the football field or in our virtual class huddle to select the masks sold to the congregation that netted nearly $1,800 in fundraising proceeds. Hopefully we won't sell masks in the future, but this was a smashing success. Michaela, your energy and enthusiasm for many things, and especially for your family and friends, are impressive. And thank you, by the way, for mobilizing your family, who almost single-handedly made our mask fundraiser a major success. Ryan, you didn't let a pesky pandemic prevent you from making this a successful year, whether it was on the baseball field or pitching in with DuPage Pads in our collection drive, attending the RAC Social Justice Academy, or teaching us about the excellent efforts of Meals on Wheels Chicago. Daniel, you bring a quiet determination to everything you do. That came through not only in our classroom sessions, but I'd say mostly in the lop and drop invasive plant species removal that our class did on our class field trip to Lyman Woods. It was our one time to get together in person, and Daniel was the king of lop and drop. Anna, you're a natural at repairing the world, and that was demonstrated when you made a full repair of the clay pot that we smashed. We all gave out clay pots, and they were glued back together in our version of the shattering of the glass vessels at creation, the start of Tikkun Olam, if you will, and that was back in October. Alana, your passion for helping others has been clearly demonstrated in the amazing work you've been doing for Mutual Ground, the shelter for abused women in Aurora, which because of you came to the attention of the JUF and became the basis for their highly successful personal care products collection drive late last fall. Shayna, I've known you and your family a long time, but perhaps never enjoyed anything more than your shouting bingo as our first winner of our charity bingo game in our last class session in April. It was priceless. You are amazing, and thank you for lightening my wallet. So students, my one request as you move into your post-confirmation life is that you take our virtual Repair of the World experience and go iPro as the pandemic eases. And just to clarify, iPro is not the latest gadget from Apple, but rather my acronym for In-Person Repair of the World. Mazel Tov and Yasher Koach.
And I'm going to ask Joel to remain at the bima as I invite forward our very own educator and principal, Marla Friedman.
I think I'm the first one to use this evening. I used to be taller than them when I taught them in 5th grade. My dear Talmidim, you have so much to be proud of this evening. Rabbi Hillel, one of our great teachers, said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? And if I am only for myself, what am I?" Your commitment to learning, to each other, and to our community shows that you have taken Rabbi Hillel's words to heart. It is evident in your words and deeds. What is also evident is the commitment your great teachers have shown you. They have taken every step alongside you to reach this awesome destination. I know you are grateful for all they've done throughout your religious school education. Joel Spenedel and Shannon Selbert tirelessly help plan and participate in your Tikkun Olam projects, not the least of which was an incredibly successful mask fundraiser. Rabbi Camel organized a modified Litaken, the traditional social justice trip to D.C. I hope you'll join the upcoming confirmation class for next year's trip. Rabbi Koznowski and her joyful and empathic teaching partner, Jillian Burstein, provoked and challenged you to think about your identity and faith in their own inimitable and engaging ways. I want to thank Danielle Gilson for being a warm and nurturing teaching assistant. I also want to thank William Talbot for being Rabbi's Madrich this past year and the year before. Our Madrichim are an integral part of our religious school, and we are so grateful for their ongoing commitment to our students and staff. I'm not exaggerating when I say we couldn't have done remote school this year without our many Madrichim. I hope you will answer the call to serve the younger classes in the coming year. We really need you, and they look up to you. They'll also think that you're much older than you really are. As I said, you have so much to be proud of, and we are so very proud of you. Kol HaKavod. So without further ado, Joel Spenedel and I will present your confirmation certificates. Please come to the bima when I call your name. Benjamin Chafik. Adam Gerard. Zach Gilbert. Josh Harrop. Aiden Kirsch. Jacob Lax. Michaela Ray. Ryan Siegel. Daniel Silverstein. Anna Sosnow. Alana Turoff. And Shayna Wartzman.
Normally at this time, I take each confirmand to the ark and I whisper something in their ear, I bless them. I can't do that this year because I have to keep them safe. And so I offer my confirmands a written letter, which they'll be getting in their bags that are as they leave the sanctuary. And now I give you your blessing and a fabulous visual. Is this not amazing? Just saying. To my amazing confirmands, I am so grateful that we get to stand together tonight, masked, but still together. Something we couldn't do this past year, as you said, because we had classes on Zoom. But you chose COVID, couldn't stop us, as your theme. And this past year, you didn't let COVID stop you. You learned how to pivot, punt, and change course. And you have come to appreciate the importance of having community in person, not just on our devices. That the in-person connection to one another is so much stronger than virtual connection. And we have gratitude that once again, all of us get to be together. To be able to come back for this special occasion, I feel a tremendous sense of gratitude to your class, to your family, and to all of our community. I feel blessed to have been a part of your Jewish lives for the last 16 years. I have known all of you a very long time. I've shared joyous and sorrowful moments with all of you. At your consecration, I helped Rabbi Bob give you little Torahs. I listened to you sing the Shema and the little Torah song. Rabbi Camel and I helped prepare you for your B'nai Mitzvah. We have enjoyed watching you grow up. You are mature and serious, kind and giving, but most of all, you said it earlier, you as a class and as individuals are resilient and brave. I hope that your years in our congregation and all that you have lived through for the past 16 and 17 years will keep a source of joy in your hearts. Tonight, even though you've officially graduated from our religious school, I hope that you will continue to be active participants in the life of the congregation. And I hope that many of you will join me for the Youth Israel trip in December, if we actually are able or allowed to go this year. But as you go forward from today, we as a community are confident that you will maintain a sense of wholeness and holiness as you build independent Jewish lives. And so now I will confer upon the class the threefold priestly benediction, and to keep the class safe, I will sing Into the Ark, and Rabbi Camel will come up for the visual and bless them. Will the congregation please rise?
Yiverechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Vayasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God be kind and gracious unto you. May God's face be lifted up unto you and grant you the most precious gift of peace. We remain standing as we continue with Aleinu, which can be found in our prayer book on page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Everyone may be seated. We continue now on page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear, doubt, and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
At this time in our worship service, our thoughts turn to those of our community and families whose yortzeit we commemorate this Shabbat. We recall with love Esther Shallett, mother of Vicki Lane, Mary Hanan, mother of Nelson Hanan, Anna Eastman, grandmother of Sharon Clark, Walter Swanson, brother of David Swanson, Betty Williamson, mother of Mary Hasten, Ruth Eatman, aunt of Lauren Eatman, Janiel Friedland, wife of Gerald Friedland and mother of David Friedland, Charlotte Goldberg, mother of Alice Agris, Victor Hirsch, grandfather of Deborah Cox and Wendy Peck, Herbert Spar, father of Tina Singer, Richard Camel, grandfather of Rabbi Ricky Camel, Martin Hoffer, father of Harriet Rose, Frank Francis Saliamanis, husband of Eleanor Saliamanis, Lee Weinstein, aunt of Judy and Sid Frankel, great aunt of Daniel Frankel, Joanne Frank, mother of Judy Lerner, Dora Freed, mother of Jack Freed, Richard Simon, stepfather of Lauren Mastrud, Edward Bell, father of Rich Bell, Joseph Hanan, father of Nelson Hannon, Henry Rothenberg, grandfather of Deb Bacall, Lillian Silverstein, grandmother of Edward Silverstein, Naomi Kanowitz, grandmother of Edward Silverstein, Mimi Silverstein, mother of Edward Silverstein and grandmother of Daniel Silverstein, Joseph Anthony Sirabasi, father of John Sirabasi, and Heath Bradley Stoller, son of Landra Dunn. We also mourn the recent passing of Mary Grave, mother of Mary Carol Smith. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled together as one community as we turn to page 294 and rise for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalal uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, leolam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
V'imru amen. V'imru amen. V'imru amen. V'imru amen.
We remain standing for our closing song as we wish our confirmands a blessing. We bless them with Tefillat HaDerech. May they be blessed as they go on their way. You can follow along with our final song on page 345.
Blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed
O God, may our lives be ripe with the fruit of compassion, sweetly sustaining those in need. May we use our gifts wisely and with love, and be true messengers of blessing to all the world. Mazal Tov, Shabbat Shalom.
Very nicely done, everybody.
Yashikra, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, mazel tov.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Mazel tov.